Served as the 2012-2013 president of the Vancouver Metro Sunset Rotary Club and is a board member of the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools. He enjoys spending time with his wife, kids, fly fishing, backpacking, playing the mandolin, which you didn't bring?
I did not bring it.
Okay. And watching sports. Probably not WSU. And Pam. Pam was born and raised outside of Great Falls, Montana. They didn't let her family inside of Great Falls, Montana. She moved to Washington in 2008 and has served as outreach director for Congresswoman Jaime Herrera Beutler since 2011. She is a graduate of Montana State University with BS in business management and marketing. Prior to working for the Congresswoman, Pam worked in the hospitality and tourism industry. She also worked with organizations to develop marketing strategies. As outreach director for Congresswoman Herrera Beutler, Pam travels throughout the 3rd Congressional District meeting with residents and businesses and other organizations. Pam is a member of the Elks Club and enjoys spending time outdoors. So please welcome Mr. Ryan Hart and Pam Peiper. Director Ryan Hart.
And go Cougs. I probably should have stopped with that, quit while I was ahead. But thank you, Keith, President Harvey, and members of the Longview Lions Club, and good afternoon. Many of you have asked, so I just want to begin with a quick update on Jamie and the baby. Both are doing well. Baby Abigail was born almost 3 months premature and without kidneys. Her original due date was on October 3rd. In December, they were able to leave the neonatal intensive care unit and return to Washington. So Jamie, Dan, and baby are happy to be back in the Pacific Northwest. Jamie remains busy traveling back and forth from Washington, D.C. to the 3rd Congressional District and traveling throughout the district as well. But Jamie did want me to thank you for your well wishes, for your thoughts, and for your prayers. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to come and speak with you for a few minutes today. And want to thank you for being involved in this great organization. I did leave my Rotary pin in the car. So perhaps you have an opportunity to convert me today. My grandfather was actually a member of the Lions Club, so I'm not exactly sure what happened with me. But this is a great organization. And one thing I will say is that the work that service clubs like Lions, Rotary, and Kiwanis do does make a difference in helping others, in making better communities, and in making a better and more peaceful world. So, thank you. I've got my membership application. Thank you very much. I've got two of them now. So, yeah, this is fantastic. Thank you for the work that you do as part of this great service organization. I believe that this is my 4th visit to your club, and it's always a pleasure to be here. I'd like to spend a few minutes talking to you about the role of the district office, what Jamie's doing in Southwest Washington, as well as an update on what she's doing in Washington, D.C. I also want to give Pam Peiper an opportunity to talk to you for a few minutes about what she's doing on behalf of the Congresswoman, and to give a general update on events and how Jamie's work relates to businesses and the community here. At our district office, we have 7 people on staff. We have a district director. I spend a lot of time traveling throughout the 8 counties here in the 3rd Congressional District on behalf of the Congresswoman. I staff her when she's in district, and I manage the district office staff. Sherry Hildreth is our Deputy District Director. I know some of you have had the opportunity to meet Sherry. Sherry handles most of our issue work in our office, such as natural resources, FEMA, timber, and transportation issues. She also works with the ports. Pam, who you will hear from in a few minutes, is our outreach director. Pam travels throughout the district, meeting with people of Southwest Washington, listening to their needs, and offering assistance. She sets up mobile offices throughout the district, and for our mobile offices, we put a notice in the paper, in the local paper, and we put it on our website that a representative from the Congresswoman's office will be in your town at a specific time and place. And we actually get quite a bit of feedback and quite a bit of casework that comes as a result of the mobile offices that we do throughout the district. Also here in Cowlitz County, Pam is at the County Administration Building on the 2nd Wednesday of every month from 11 to 1. So Pam will be back here tomorrow as well, so you can all drop in and see Pam, and you might want to hand her a membership application as well while you're here. Teresa Wren is our staff assistant. If you come in and visit us in our Vancouver office, Teresa greets you at the front desk when you come in to visit, and she answers the phones, really keeps things running smoothly at our office, and also does our Lewis County office hours every Tuesday. We have 3 caseworkers in our district office: Dale Lewis, Ashley Laura, and Jordan Mead. And there are all kinds of cases that we handle. Maybe someone's having a difficult time with Social Security or dealing with another federal agency. Veterans issues, immigration, social services. These are all areas where we do casework, and we help people needing assistance in working with federal agencies. The requests and circumstances are often unique. You never know what you're going to get from one day to the next. One example is an example that a couple years ago, actually on New Year's Eve, I received a call from the president of the Vancouver Rotary Club, and he said that he had an urgent need with their exchange program. They had a young lady coming in from Chile to Vancouver as part of an exchange program, and she was being detained in Atlanta. This was a short stay, friendship, family-to-family exchange where Maria Jose, the young lady from Chile, would be coming up and spending 8 weeks in Vancouver, and her exchange sister from Vancouver had already been down to Chile. But apparently Maria answered a question wrong in Atlanta. When asked, "What is the purpose of your visit?" she said, "To go to school." Well, that would require an F1 visa. She would be going to classes while she was here, but she had a tourist visa, which was the appropriate visa for this type of 8-week friendship exchange. They had her detained in Atlanta, and they wanted to send her back to Chile. Well, the president of the Vancouver Rotary Club asked if we could help, so I got the details from the exchange coordinator. I called Sherry Hildreth, our deputy district director. I called Jamie, and we got to work. After several phone calls and email exchanges with Homeland Security and Immigration Services in Atlanta, we got Maria on a flight to Portland late New Year's Eve. So those are just some of the types of requests that we get, and that's what we're here for. Jamie knows that the district must be at the center of her work. Her ability to listen, to know what's happening, and assess the needs of the communities in Southwest Washington are critical to her success as an effective representative. And that's where the district office comes in. My role specifically is to connect with people in communities throughout the district, to attend meetings, and to stay on top of current events. We want to know if there's a tsunami warning in Pacific County, flood warnings in Cowlitz and Lewis counties, or if there's a mudslide in Wahkiakum County. Hopefully none of those things will happen anytime soon. But our goal is to not simply react to the needs of the district, but to anticipate the needs and to get to work on solving problems. So the Congresswoman's office is here to serve the people of Southwest Washington. Some of the accomplishments here in Southwest Washington, I'm going to grab a glass of water here. My daughter lost a tooth yesterday. It was her front tooth. So I was thinking that the lisp has been so cute listening to her talk, and I'm beginning to think that it may be a little contagious. So forgive me, but I will try to say Southwest Washington, and there we go. Jamie's biggest priority here is focusing on jobs and economic recovery. We regularly set up small business roundtables and workshops to listen to the needs and challenges of job creators here in the district. And what Jamie hears at those meetings regularly shapes her legislative priorities in Washington, D.C. Are there particular regulations affecting employers here? Are energy prices, tax uncertainty, or rising healthcare costs impeding their abilities to hire? From these meetings also come opportunities. At one of these roundtables a couple of years ago, a few employees told Jamie that they were unable to find qualified candidates for open positions, meaning there were open jobs, but oftentimes the connection between the job openings and job seekers is missing. Jamie's pledged to attack the problem of unemployment with every tool at her disposal, so she instructed the district office to set up a jobs fair. At that first jobs fair, we had 1,700 participants and 70 employers. The sad news of that is that there were 1,700 participants there because it really highlighted the need and the unemployment crisis that that we've been dealing with over the past several years. But it was great to see those people coming and meeting with the employers. We had 70 employers there, and last summer was the third jobs fair, which has now become an annual event. Another thing that Jamie has found helpful is community meetings. She's held over 40 teletown halls, live town halls, and community coffees. We're really happy with the feedback that we've received from the community coffees, and I'd like to tell you a little bit more about those and how those work. We're going into every community in the 3rd Congressional District. In fact, we did 2 of them last month. And what we do when we go into these communities is we send a phone notification to everyone with a listed phone number in that community and notify them when the coffee is going to be held in their area. These are also posted on our website, and we've put flyers out in the communities that she'll be visiting. So like a town hall, the Congresswoman begins with an update on what's happening in Congress and then opens the floor to your questions. We've done these throughout the 3rd Congressional District, and if you don't have a landline phone and would like to be notified of the next coffee in your area, please call our office and we'll make sure that we've got your cell number, your contact information, that we've got you on a list, and that way you can receive the alert when there is one of these community meetings in your community. Taking a look at Washington, D.C. and some of the things that have happened over the past several months, in addition to the big national headline issues like health care and the national debt, Jaime's always keeping Southwest Washington in mind as she votes and makes decisions. Jaime carries her priority of job creation to Washington, D.C., and she recognizes that with a divided Congress and clear partisan divides, working in a bipartisan fashion is more important today than ever. Last week, the Farm Bill passed. Included in that was a big win for jobs in the timber communities and forest product industry with Jaime's Forest Roads Bill. The Forest Roads Bill is an important permanent protection from a forest roads rule that Jaime and Democrat Representative Kurt Schrader introduced and have been fighting for 2 years. And both businesses and labor both strongly support this priority. The Forest Roads rule would require a new permit for every single road on public and private forest land. And in Washington State, forest landowners already comply with the most environmentally comprehensive laws in the nation. Such a rule would have had a ripple effect through the forest product economy that provides more than 100,000 jobs in Washington State alone. This bill, the Forest Roads Bill, protects businesses from this Forest Roads rule. Last fall, Jaime joined with Congressman Earl Blumenauer to introduce the Fundamentally Improving Salmon Habitat, or FISH Act, a bill that would improve efforts to restore salmon habitat in the Northwest. They were joined by Congresswoman Susan Bonamici and Congressman Kurt Schrader as original co-sponsors of the legislation. Last year, Jaime introduced H.R. 716. This is a bill that addresses the situation at a community treasure that we have in Vancouver, the Pearson Air Museum. There's a dispute right now between the National Park Service, the City of Vancouver, and the Fort Vancouver National Trust over the operation and management of the museum. H.R. 716 would return this treasure back to the people. That bill passed through committee last spring and is ready to go to the House floor for a vote. Jaime's currently holding back on bringing that to the floor for a vote while the parties are in mediation, which they entered into after Bill 716 was introduced. But she's ready to move forward with that legislation should talks between the parties break down. Another big recent accomplishment was passing the budget. And Jaime fought hard for the interests of Southwest Washington in this budget package. The most exciting thing about this budget is that we're going back to regular order where the appropriations process can work as it's supposed to, and this was not the case under the continuing resolutions that we were operating under for the past several years. The omnibus bill included Gifford-Pinchot road closures language, with Congress encouraging the Forest Service to only decommission roads in the Gifford-Pinchot in extreme situations. This protects access to the forest for recreation, firefighting, and future management. The Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund, there was more than $1 billion in the omnibus to give the Army Corps the resources it needs for maintaining dredging operations. That money, some of that money we're hoping will be coming here to our district, and the omnibus bill provides $2.1 billion for capital investment grants. This includes new starts and small start grants for things like bus rapid transit. Highways, the bill provides almost $41 billion for the federal highway program. That's the level that was authorized in MAP 21, last year's highway bill that Jaime helped write. This would allow for road and bridge maintenance and new construction as well. So looking forward, this year will certainly provide more opportunities and challenges, and it's Jaime's job to be ready. It's the job of our office to be ready. We watch as national and international events unfold, and we consider the effects that they could have on Southwest Washington. Looking at what lies ahead, we're headed back into the appropriations process, as I mentioned. The President's new budget should be out on March 5th, so there's an important date coming up. We're working on fixes for the FEMA flood insurance premium rate increase, Jaime co-sponsored a bill that we're hoping to get passed soon. This legislation would delay all premium increases for primary residences for 4 years and require FEMA to conduct an affordability study to ensure homeowners can afford to protect their homes. There's some talk about the possibility of tax reform legislation this next year. Also, the Water Resources Development Act, or WRDA, is in conference right now, and we're hopeful for the passage of a new WRDA bill that will give the Army Corps directions that pertains to the operation and maintenance of our ports and harbors. So as things continue to unfold, our staff will continue playing a support role to Jaime as she takes the needs of this region back to Washington, D.C. and fights on our behalf. If there's anything that I can do to assist the folks in this room, please let me know. I do have my business cards, have all of my contact information, and it's extremely important for you to have that information if you'd like to get a hold of us. I hope that you would come and see me before you leave today so I can give you a card, and you've got my email address and phone number. And I'll tell you what, I will even trade you a business card for each membership application you pass along to me as well. So thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and thanks for the application. And with that, I would now like to turn the microphone over to Pam Peiper.
Thank you, Ryan, or Director Hart. Jaime always just says, call me Jaime, but Ryan makes sure we call him Director Hart every once in a while.
It's not true.
Or so Keith says. Well, thank you, everybody, for allowing us to be here today. As you may know, Jaime sits on the Appropriations Committee, which is a sole committee, but she was given a waiver to continue sitting on the Small Business Committee. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Jaime's role on the committee, legislation she's worked on, and how you can play a role in that, and then events that we hold around the district. The committee often holds hearings throughout the year on several different topics, and Jaime will take examples of what she's heard from meetings like this, tours and roundtables, back to the committee. She'll also reach out to us and have us reach out to other businesses in the area to see if they have any questions or if there's anything that they'd like to ask to the panelists during a committee hearing. When I mentioned this to Keith about a year ago, he got right on it and started connecting me with a lot of local businesses. So thank you, Keith, for keeping me employed and giving me a lot to do here. We did go around talking with a lot of these businesses to see what issues were going on, and we did find that one business was having issues being noted as a service-disabled, veteran-owned business. And because of a few paperwork glitches, he was not able to contract as so he was losing out on a lot of different contracts. A lot of what you hear in the media is that nothing is getting done in Washington, D.C., and how members are not working together. Well, there is a lot of work being done in a bipartisan manner. Jaime looks for what's best to the region and finds someone to work with. Ryan mentioned the Forest Roads bill. Another example of a bill that Jaime had worked with one of her Democrat colleagues on from Oregon was the Small Business Opportunity Act. In Southwest Washington alone, there are more than 900 small businesses eligible to compete for contracts with the federal government. This bill will strengthen opportunities for those businesses. It ensures federal small business advocates are involved upfront whenever a federal contracting opportunities are drawn up. It also redefines those advocates' roles so they can better focus on their main mission, helping the small business compete. Ryan did mention a little bit about the roundtables, how important they are, and the opportunities that they can create. I'm going to talk about how they work, as well as a few other events around the district. So a big part of Jaime's job is listening to the people that she represents. With jobs her priority, what a better place to start than with our job creators. So we've set up a series of roundtables all over the district on several different topics. It may be a hot topic on something that's going on in DC, or just a general, what's impacting your business, good or bad. Jaime wants to make sure she hears from everyone. So this is where connections that we make at events such as this come in. We'll reach out to all different businesses. We usually keep it from about 12 to 15 different folks in the room so we can ensure a good dialogue back and forth. The one exception to that is when she invited the chairman of the Small Business Committee, Chairman Sam Graves, out to the district. She wanted to ensure that everyone had an opportunity to meet with Sam and express their concerns. So we contacted local chambers, EDCs, and business groups to find businesses that would be interested in participating. We had about 80 different businesses that were able to express their concerns to the chairman. An example of a roundtable on a hot topic was an energy roundtable. This region is often referred to as the Silicon Forest. High-tech companies have come here because of the lower energy prices. And there was some discussion back in DC about making hydro a renewable energy. So this would really help lower the rates for the businesses. So we set up a room with all these businesses and got their thoughts on the issue, and Jamie took that back to DC. In addition to roundtables, we've set up information sessions on various topics. Jamie hosted a Contracting 101 class where about 100 businesses were able to come and listen to experts on how they can contract with the federal government. And Ryan mentioned the idea that the jobs fair came from discussions at a roundtable. Well, after talking with job seekers as well as employers at the jobs fair, Jamie wanted to take it a step further this year. So last year, she hosted a job hunting workshop prior to the jobs fair. We had HR specialists from local companies have a panel discussion to help job seekers with resume writing, cover letters, approaching employers, and then how to follow up. We also wanted to help the folks with the entrepreneurial spirit gain access to the right resources. So Jamie put together a series of entrepreneurship workshops around the district to help connect those who are thinking of starting a business or who have already started a business with the resources that are available. We held information sessions for small businesses on the Affordable Care Act. We've had folks from the SBA, the exchange, business groups, and brokers talk with businesses about what they can expect and what resources are available. In addition to these information sessions, Jamie also holds issue-specific hearings just right across the hall here. She had Chairman Doc Hastings out for a committee hearing on forest health. Now, she does a lot of work with different businesses and groups and folks around the district, but she also wants to make sure that high school students are engaged. So in addition to the art competition that we have each year, this year, Jamie is hosting a STEM challenge, which will help engage students and highlight their achievements. So this year, students will be able to get together in teams of 2 to 4 people, create a mobile app. We'll have judges from around the community, local businesses, other community members, and any mentors that are willing to help these students. They will all be judged, competing against other folks in the district, and the winner of that app contest will have their app displayed on the House website as well as back in the Capitol. Our next big event that is going to be happening here in Kelso next Wednesday from 1 to 4 is Jamie's Veterans Resource Fair. About 2 years ago, Jamie was hearing from agencies and organizations that offered services to veterans that were saying, we need this service, or we need somebody to do this, or we do this. Well, she ended up getting a lot of these groups together, finding out that a lot of these services already are here. So she got them together in a room, had them talk about the services that they offer, and then network with each other. So following that, she decided, well, now she's hosting the Veterans Resource Fair for all of veterans and their families to come and connect with these agencies and groups and learn about the resources that are available to them. We'll have businesses that hire veterans coming. The VA will be down, Social Security, Longview Housing, veteran service organizations, and many more. There are a few really exciting components to this. In addition to the vendors that will be down here, we'll have the director of the Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs, as well as a mobile vet center. This mobile vet center is an RV that travels around and provides several different counseling services to veterans, from PTSD to family and marriage counseling. And the most exciting part for me and a lot of the work that we do in this office and Jamie does is awarding belated medals. So Jamie will be awarding the Purple Heart to Michael Schulte of Carroll's and the Distinguished Flying Cross to the widow of Terry Paxton of Longview, 2 Southwest Washington military heroes who have earned but never received their awards for service. Mr. Schulte sustained severe combat injuries in Afghanistan when his truck was struck by an enemy bomb. It was only after Jamie's office helped resolve a paperwork error that the U.S. Army recognized the oversight and provided Mr. Schulte's Purple Heart Award, which is given to service members who have been wounded or killed in combat. It's the oldest military award still given in the United States. Mr. Paxton was a crew chief of a UH-1 helicopter in the Vietnam War. Despite taking heavy fire during a volunteer mission to resupply ground troops to the Songcheng Valley, Private First Class Paxton and his crew successfully completed the mission. His efforts were vital in saving the lives of numerous other soldiers on the ground. For more than 4 decades later, and thanks to congressional effort to recognize this event, Mr. Paxton's widow will accept the Distinguished Flying Cross on his behalf for his heroism during that flight. So I'm sure by now you're starting to see a theme with a lot of these events. There are a lot of things that can be done here locally that don't take an act of Congress. And Jamie wants to make sure that those connections are being made, from the jobs fair to the workshops to the Veterans Resource Fair to the STEM competition. Those are a few examples of what our office does to help connect folks with the resources available. So what I would ask is, if you're seeing anybody that needs any assistance or someone that needs some help navigating a federal agency, please let us know. If there's any way to help, we'd be happy to help. And I would also ask if there's any veterans in the room that you stop by our Veterans Resource Fair, or if you know of any other veterans or veteran service organizations, or anybody that would like a table, to please contact our office. And don't forget, we have our office hours the second Wednesday of every month, so I'd love to see some of you coming in, or if you would like to send anyone else in, it does get a little lonely in there. So with that, thank you for your time and inviting us to be here today. We can take a few questions. I will just let you know, Ryan and I are not on the legislative team, so if it's specific legislative questions, we may have to get back to you on that. Yes, sir.
First of all, I'd like you to report to Jamie that we actually gave you almost a half an hour to talk instead of the 1.5 minutes we gave her the last time. And our apologies for that again. That was horrible. Second thing I'd like to say is, everybody thinks Congress is broken. Congress isn't broken. It's just doing what it was told to do in the 2010 election, and that is halt things like all this socialist stuff that's trying to be foisted off on the people. So it's not broken. It's working perfectly as far as I'm concerned. And the longer the lame duck, the better.
Is that a political comment?
Yes, sir.
After some 35 years, and again, please say hi to Jamie for all of us, because there are lots of us who appreciate the work she does here. In 35 years of listening to these talks, I truly have to wonder how many times it takes congressional intervention to fix a paperwork problem. Does it seem odd to you in your work that how many paperwork problems there are? And why can't the system fix their own paperwork problems?
That is a very good question. And I know a lot of the agencies have been doing work on some of these backlogs and what they're doing, but I guess I can't really speak as to why there are so many problems, but I know there is a lot of work. We do have, as Ryan mentioned, three caseworkers helping people with this, and a lot of time it's just because folks don't know who to contact.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned job fairs
Uh-huh.
and the number of employers that were there. Do you have any numbers on how many people actually got hired at that job fair?
We have received some numbers from the employers. A lot of the employers and the much larger ones like Weyerhaeuser, Longview Fiber, and then some of the other big tech companies and Boeing require that the applicants go in through their web portal, so it doesn't necessarily state that that's where they actually heard about it or interviewed. A lot of the small businesses, I know one company that hired 30 people that had reported back to us, and that was just one employer. So it is unfortunately difficult to track how many have actually been hired.
Thank you.
Question over here.
Yeah.
You mentioned about returning the Air Museum in Fort Vancouver to the people. How, in the bill that she's holding on to right now, what is the people in that bill? I mean, is that the museum or is it the Park Service or who is it?
The legislation would return it to the city of Vancouver, and it would be operated under the management of the Fort Vancouver National Trust or other nonprofit agency, the way that it had been done for a number of years. There was a cooperative agreement that was supposed to be in effect for I think another 30 years till 2025, and as a result of the dispute between the Park Service, the city, and the trust, the Park Service canceled the CA and ended up taking over the management responsibilities of the museum. All of the airplanes that were in the museum were on loan to the trust, or the vast majority of them, As a result, a lot of the owners of those airplanes, historic airplanes, didn't want their planes to remain in the museum, and all of the airplanes that were in that museum were removed. And there are a few exhibits that are currently there now, but it isn't anything like it was prior to. There were also a number of special events that were held there as well, and so that's also been part of the topic of discussion.
Thank you.
Pam and Ryan, as president of the Longview Pioneer Lions Club, I'd like to give each one of you a mug.
Thank you.
This November, you can fill it with a brew and either cheer or give you something to cry in.
Oh, there you go.
Super.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.